Afternoon, everybody. We're here in sunny Arizona, a calm afternoon. We're going to talk about flamping and the equipment that you'll eventually amass for your flamping adventure. Now, in light sport aircraft, we've already talked about limited cargo space. And so I've bought very small equipment from REI, and I've gone to the backpacking department to find that small equipment. Now, it's got to be small cubic space-wise, but not small in weight. So I've saved money because, for instance, the tent, this is the tent I purchased. I saved probably $200 to $250 in weight. This is probably a 2.5 pound tent. I'm not going to carry it on my back, so I didn't have to pay extra money for a 1.5 pound, 1 3/4 pound tent that I'm going to put in the backpack. I'm going to carry it in an airplane. So the premium backpack tents, very light, are very expensive. So I saved a good bit of money. Likewise, camping chairs, we're going to take a look at one of those, and pads, sleeping pads. Now, there's the only thing I'm going to cut off, and I'm not going to carry scissors in my clamping gear, of course, I'm going to carry a knife. The only thing I've done is remove the price tags. Now, when you buy clamping equipment for the first time, just like me, you're going to open this stuff for the first time in your backyard. You're not going to go out to a campsite and open it there and get familiar with it in the wilderness. Because Murphy loves people to do that. Murphy's Law. Whatever can go wrong will go wrong. So I'm going to do it here and avoid the epithets, swear words, in putting together my newly purchased equipment. This is a camp chair. Now, when I bought it, the guy that sold it to me said, "Oh yeah, this is really easy." Now you look at it, I'm sure there are instructions, but you know pilots and instructions. So I'm going to figure it out. Now these legs all are pretty self-explanatory. They go in the associated slots, like so. Then they sit on the ground, and then the canvas frame 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. Some are narrow, some are wider. These are wider. We're going to say the rubber tips go on the ground. So there's 4 rubber tips. That's probably what goes on the ground. I think that's safe to assume, don't you? And we have 4 slots. There's 2. And that looks pretty wide. And there's 2. So let's try this. Let's go in here. All we can do is make a mistake and start over, correct? Now, just like anything else that's snug, the first 3 are going to be real easy. And they have been. That 4th one is going to be difficult. Otherwise, the chair's not going to be worth the damn to sit on. Ta-da! Okay, I think we have a chair. I'm not sure until I sit in it. We move that out of the way and that out of the way. Okay. I now have a camp chair. I'm going to sit in it for right now. Let you all gaze at me with wonderment. Okay, the sleeping pad, I've had thermarests in the past, and the beauty with them is they're basically self-inflating. There are other methods now I looked at. Some you literally scoop air up and then roll it into the pad, which between you and me seems kind of hokey. A thermarest consists of a valve that you open. Great, a sleeve within a sleeve. This is the valve. Now what you do is when you make your camp, you open the valve and it is open. You open it and you forget it. And as time goes on, it self-inflates. Not completely, but a good bit. And then you blow into it, complete the process, and then seal the valve. So, to me, like most pilots, I'm lazy. So you just set it, forget it. You don't set it, you open it. But that doesn't rhyme. So you don't use that. You set it, forget it, come back, complete the process with a few puffs of air, lock it, and you have the sleeping pad. Now they come in various thicknesses, and you decide. That's up to you. But I'm not going to be out for a week. I'm not going to be hiking, so hopefully I won't be that sore. So it's, I don't know, I think a 2-inch pad, and that's enough for me. And my chair hasn't collapsed. How about that? There's no cup holder. Pilots think about things like that. But there are some you can buy aftermarket that will clamp onto a leg. But my table that I can't show you right now because the camera gear is sitting on the collapsible table will be right here. And I'll show you that in a later video. It collapses, it's sturdy, the legs are adjustable, they telescope, so one height is about this high and the other one is a little higher. So depending on what you're doing, if you're relaxing with a nice drink, or if you're eating, or if you're taller and you're cooking on it, you can choose. So now, the main thing that we're going to talk about today is the tent. Well, once again, you don't want to get out there and for the first time open your tent. It is probably the greatest unknown in construction. And so once again, I need my trusty scissors. There's countless tents to choose from. This is called Mountain Hardware. I don't shield for the company. I'm not going to give you the price because there's hundreds of models to choose from, and it's up to the buyer what you need. This is a 2-man tent. I don't plan on flamping with anyone. My wife has no desire to flamp, so it's just more room. Simple as that. My sleeping bag that I'm going to use, I purchased decades ago, but it's still in good shape because I didn't do a lot of backpacking back in my younger days. So I'm going to use that. It's a 1-man sleeping bag. That's a one-person pad, but the tent will offer more space for me. Okay, so there's two pieces of the tent. First of all tents come with a ground stake kit. I suggest you try and stake your tent down, just because winds can come up and you don't want it blowing all over God's green earth. No pun intended. Okay, we're going to move the chair out of the way. There's also what they call a ground pad, or something to that effect. And we're not going to put the ground cloth, I guess it's called. I'm not going to put that down now, but I guess it's a good idea to use that too, just to have the surface of the tent, bottom of the tent, if you will, not directly on the ground. Makes sense to me. It's also a canopy that goes on the top of the tent, rain fly, if you will, but we're not really interested in that. We're interested in getting this beast up. Now, the first thing I see, and those are the stakes. We need poles. It's a freestanding tent, which means that these guys have to be used aha. And here in the lining of the case is the instructions, pitching instructions. And if you're anything like me, they're not very good. So here we start. Two something or others. You have two rubber bands, so I don't think we'll need those other than keeping these guys straight. Put the rods together. The instructions infer that you have two of these guys. So we're going to see. Now, I could fast forward the video, but that doesn't do us very good, any good, because then you have no idea how long it took me. I'm just an average guy, not an engineer. I fly airplanes, I don't design them. So half of being smart is knowing what you're dumb at. And if you're like me, you'd kind of like to know at the end of this process how to do it. So it says I get 6 hooks, and that must be the stakes. We're not going to worry about hooks right now. So these rubber tips are the ends, and then they go through and they crisscross over the tent. So let's get this guy spread out. and find these sleeves. Here's a long one. So one of them has to go through here. Wait a minute. Or does it? Maybe just lays over that edge. Maybe I didn't open it up all the way. Now the instructions show these rods going through the grommet at the end and then through the Velcro tabs and they cross in the middle. So the question is, where's that hole in the corner that it goes in? Where are the corner holes? And I'm not inclined. Ooh, would that be one? And that could be one. They're not very big holes, and they're not because the grommets don't fit in them. So we keep looking for a corner hole. Could that be it? Once again, we look and see what they're made out of. No, they're grommets, round grommets in the material of the tent. And I don't see any round grommet in the material of the tent. So, see how many of these we have. One, let's go in this little hole here. Let's see if there's one on the opposite side. There is. Then what the producers have done is replace the grommet with the tab on the edge, and figured the customer would just figure all that crap out. Here it is. There's only two. And folks, I have no idea how they expect the other the other one goes on the outside. So, this is what we do. Now we're at a step where I've got to stop and call, who is this? Mountain Hardware, and say, what in the wide, wide world of sports do you expect me to do in putting your tent together that I paid good money for? I will do this. The thermarest is almost fully inflated. There is a almost fully inflated mattress. So in the time it took me to assemble the chair and fart around with the tent, I've got a comfortable place to lie down and take a nap while I get fully refreshed and call Mountain Hardware. So that's why you do it in the backyard, folks. I'm not real pleased with the product. I don't imagine any products, other products are any different. Oh my God. Under penalty of law, not to be removed except by the consumer, so I guess I'm okay. I'm going to stop right here. I'm going to edit this a little bit, but I want you to see fully the frustration you will find if you're new to flamping of any kind. You could have a nice big airplane and buy a great big tent. But if you've never opened up a product that you've never used and then in your backyard, you're headed for trouble. And I'm not headed for trouble. I'm headed for tech support. And we're going to get this straightened out. And this will be Flamping 101. That's what I'm going to call the video. And then 102 will be completing this process and moving on. I'll show you the table and the cook stove, and those are the major accoutrements to a campsite, as far as I'm concerned. And then we'll go on to cooking and some of the other things that I'm going to have for light sport glamping at any rate. So I hope you've enjoyed this, maybe more than I. But it's time now to pack this one up. Now, feel free to share and do subscribe, and we'll have more fun next time. Okay, folks, there won't be a Flamping 102. It's the next day. I've made a call, and the gray sheets that I called ground covers were the floor and the tent that I was trying to construct with the green. The green was just the canopy of the tent. Now this piece here, the narrower gray sheet that I threw to the side, is the ground cover that goes under the footprint of the tent. But the other sheet, which was folded up and looked innocuous enough, was the tent. And there you can see it partially. The green piece, the blue piece, whatever you want to call it, is the canopy. So the long pieces, it's a freestanding tent. So the long telescoping pieces that we constructed go over the top and then are held in place by the clips on the gray or the black and white sheet that we didn't really explore because I assumed, bad word, that that was just a ground cloth. So the tent is dark colored, gray, black, and white. And then the piece that I thought was the body of the tent is just the canopy that goes over the top. Now, I talked to Mountain Hardware, expressing my amazement that their instruction sheets were something less than desirable. And of course, they said, yeah, we'll make a note and we'll pass it on. So, at any rate, once I broke the code and opened up all the parts and pieces, which, in spite of my advanced age, I'm still loath to do, it wasn't that difficult. There's some guy ropes that I'm still not quite versed in to tighten the canopy, but I can figure that out by calling my friends at REI. I will put in a plug for REI. If you're not familiar with that store, they have an online store, rei.com. Not quite as good as going into the store. If you're located near one, do that. If you can fly to a location and get to a store, that's well worth the trouble also. Join it, you get a discount, a rebate at the end of the year. They're great. So the tent is up, and of course now the problem is taking it down, rolling it up, and getting it back in the original case. But I'll spare you the torture of watching me do that. The table that I mentioned is right here in its collapsed mode. It's flat, and I'm going to take a few minutes to open that up so you can see it, and then we'll look at the stove real quick. I'm not suitable for public viewing today because I got up, I haven't showered, I haven't shaved, I haven't brushed my teeth, but you wouldn't be able to tell that on video anyway. So give me a moment and we'll be right back with the table. Now here's the table. I've only been gone about a moment, I'll give you a minute and a half to assemble the table. The legs just fold. You put it down on the ground upside down, you extend the legs, and then fold the table up. Now, as I said, there are two heights. This is the low height, which is about 18 inches, and then you can extend the legs another 8 to 10 inches to make it a higher table. But it's reasonably secure. It's solid. You can put things on it. You can cut on it. It's a little more expensive. Once again, it's metal with kind of like polywood on top. But it's well worth the few extra bucks because it'll stand up to weight on top and wind. On top of it right now is the stove that I bought. Now, stoves. Stoves aren't for cooking when you're out. As the salesman told me, they're for heating water. And then you take hot water and you put it in dried food. And that cooks your supper or your lunch or your breakfast. So I opted for a jet boil heater, water heater. Now, what did I see in this unit that set it apart? I'll tell you. First of all, it's got electronic ignition. You don't need a flint, you don't need matches. You push a button and you get a light. Other than that, it came with these stabilizer legs for your fuel canister. Canister is sold separately, but now when you're cooking, it just sets the whole thing better because this is going to sit on top of this. This sits on this, and then this whole thing sits on this. So it's got a high center of gravity. So the legs give you some stabilization. It'll heat 2 cups of water in about a minute. And most of your meals, for one, require 1 cup to 2 cups of water. So it's quick. These little adornments on the side of the container for your water aren't just there for aesthetics. They change colors and tell you the temperature of the water that's inside. And then, if you're just brewing coffee for your morning drink or any kind of hot liquid to drink, there's a handle there that you can see on the side of the container that you can drink right from that container or pour it into the bag. Once again, there's a cup you can put some stuff in, and there's a lid for the container. And unlike the tent, there's an instruction book. So, with words, not just pictures, with words. So, that's kind of nice too. And all of these parts and pieces, other than the fuel canister, fit inside the container. So it's compact. Weight, not a consideration. But compactness is, it doesn't come in a storage container, so a stuff sack of some sort would be good. The fuel containers these days are self-sealing, so when they're not screwed into the burner, they seal themselves. So flying with them on board that's not a major concern. So there's your fuel source to eat. There's a rainbow of food choices. And I haven't gotten any yet to try them, but once again, REI is a great source for dried food. If you're a backpacker, you're probably already familiar with them. If not, find a source. If it's not REI, online, Google ratings. A Backpacker magazine is a good source too for dried food. Find one you like, buy it, take it, use it, eat it, and go from there. And even though we don't have a forum, we have a comment section on the YouTube page. And so when you try these things, if you find stuff you like, put a comment down there. And once again, an advantage to subscribing is you'll be able to see those and share with the other subscribers. So that's so much for Flamping 101. It's a long video. You can laugh along with day one and the perils of the tent. But once again, learn with me. And all your experiences in life tell you the same thing. If you got something you're going to take out into the wilderness, try it at home. So that's it for now. Remember, subscribe, share, and fly safe.